like Lamelo.
The order. I think I want to start off. I want to start off with Tyrese Halliburton, if that's okay with you,
Yeah,
because Lamelo, I'm not really too privy on everything. I had to look up some stuff. Welcome to the No Narratives Podcast, episode 28. I got my guy Quinn back on with me. It's been a while. I really wanted. I miss talking to you, bro. I wanted to talk some sports. Wanted to talk some basketball specifically. First of all, how was Thanksgiving, man? How was your Thanksgiving?
put on that extra 5 pounds. Uh, that the broccoli cheese and rice casserole and the ham always gets me every year. So
Mm,
always good to see the family eat good.
yeah. Yeah, I was in Dallas, man. I went to Dallas to hang out with some family out there that flew down from Illinois to my grandmother's house, who stays in Dallas, and it was cool. Nice to see cousins I haven't seen for a long time. It would have been nice to see more of my cousins, but a lot of people couldn't come. Unfortunately, it is what it is, man. But all in all, Thanksgiving was cool. Spent time with my daughter. It was cool. It was a vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I ain't tripping. But off of that into this, man. Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers are kind of struggling this year. I would place a lot of that blame at the feet of Tyrese Halliburton. I've seen a lot of dialogue on Twitter, to be honest, that I'm not very happy with. It's about how Tyrese Halliburton was his run is fake, and how he isn't really that good, and the conversations that people were trying to put him in last year were not the conversations that he belonged in, and I really don't like it. I guess I'll let you open this one up. What do you think? What are your thoughts on Tyrese Halliburton and everything like that?
I mean, he was injured for or he's dealing with a nagging injury.
Mm,
Um, was my understanding. And I mean, to me, that team is just a victim of because I think I saw a stat where Siakam, uh, Nimhard, Matherin, and Shepard were shooting like over 40%, and so he's got some from 40% three. So he's got
yeah,
some good players, but I think he's just in a slump. Like I think he's just not fully healthy, and maybe the extra attention defensively
yeah,
is getting to him. I feel like this is just kind of an aberration. I don't feel like this is who he is going forward. People are disappointed, but again, I mean, it's a long season, and I don't even think have we even got to we're almost to Christmas, so like it's a little too early to have these definitive conversations on what Tyrese is, because Tyrese did so well last year that I think a lot of people just want to kind of hate watch him so they can kind of like push back on what fans were saying about him last year. So I don't necessarily feel that the conversation around Tyrese right now is genuine.
yeah. Yeah, that's my whole thing. The genuineness of the conversation, bro. I'm looking at the numbers. Lowest field goal percentage by far of his career. As a
Hmm.
rookie, he shot 47% from the field. He's a career 47% from the field. He's shooting 41% from three, and I'm rounding up. 3-point percentage, lowest of his career. Again, probably by far. Last year, he shot 36% from three, but on 8 attempts. That was a career high. This year, he's at 9 attempts per game at 34%, lowest of his career. His rookie season, he shot 41% from three. He's a 38% 3-point shooter overall for his career. Lowest 2-point percentage of his career, 51%. I'm rounding up. Effective field goal percentage, 51%, lowest of his career. Like turnovers, I guess 1.9. Those are down. And then he's averaging 17 and a half points per game, which is his lowest since probably his third year in the league when he got traded to Indiana. And when he got traded to Indiana for the rest of the season, he averaged 17 and a half a game. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, since he's been a starter, all-star level player, all NBA caliber player, this is the lowest of his career. Like, this is a guy that you said it's like an aberration, but an aberration doesn't normally last this long. When I see something like this, I think of the fact that he played on a bad hamstring last year, on a strained hamstring, because he wanted to meet the minutes and game threshold so that he can make all NBA team and get whatever percentage of it was of the cap so he could get his money. And then he went to the Olympics and he never fully recovered. And ever since I saw James Harden deal with a grade 2 hamstring injury and I saw Chris Paul deal with a grade 2 hamstring injury, like my opinion on that injury, on hamstring injuries overall, has just changed. This is not
Mine
the
too.
same. This is not the same basketball player. Like this is not a. He's hurting them. They traded for Pascal Siakam. Everybody is pretty much playing to their standard on the Indiana Pacers, except for the guy that's getting paid like the
Yeah,
most money.
and that's why I brought up the shooting percentages. Like, if you look at the percentages, like they're scoring. Everyone else is there. He's just not. And I agree with you on your hamstring part. Like, I look at Zion, right? Like, I don't think Zion's ever going to be what we expect him to be because his hamstring just is going to
But
keep getting.
he never
Yeah,
played on his hamstring injury. Not to cut you off,
yeah,
but he never played 30 plus games, 18 plus
yeah.
games, high
But you
minutes.
see guys with lingering hamstring injuries, their production fluctuates a lot.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of happening with James and with Chris. Chris was at a low. He didn't really have a valley again, but it was just kind of like, their production's all over the place, and they're inconsistent. But like you said, I do look at that injury because I think it's just one of those injuries that like it's tricky
Yeah.
because it takes a while to heal. But I mean, go off on your Tyrese thing. I'm
No,
gonna
I
let
just
you cook.
that's cool. And I'm looking at the Pacers right now. They're 9-11. If the play in was today, obviously it's not. They would be in a play in. If they were to make the playoffs, they would be the 8th seed in the East, or they can get as high as the 7th seed. Do you think that they have time to get out of this slump? That they have time to be in that top 6 conversation with Miami, with Milwaukee, who is now over
Uh,
500? Like, do you think that they would be able to do that?
I hate to be bad, but I think the East is like really weak. So
Of course.
is it possible? Absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they make it up there because the East is just so like weak and up and down compared to the West. So is there time to turn it around? Sure, because you have a pretty big margin of error in the East. And the West, those margins are very slim. So um, with that being said, I think they definitely have the chance to.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, man, this is like everybody on that team seems to be doing their role and what they are expected to do on that team, except for Tyrese Halliburton. And if your
Yeah.
engine doesn't have the keys, if your engine is out of oil, like it's a wrap on the car. It doesn't matter that the wheels turn perfectly and that the doors don't have any issues. Like the engine is done. And I think that Tyrese Halliburton is more so of a he's hurt thing, and he may never get back to that same pop more than it was, it was an aberration. He was a one-hit wonder because, I mean, dude averaged 21 2 years ago, averaged 20 last year, made All-NBA, made a back-to-back All-Star appearances. Since he got in Indy, he's been one of the most fun players to watch. Averaged
Yeah.
10.4 assists his first full season there, averaged 11 assists per game his next season there. Now he's at 9 assists a game. Like, which is, again, I want to say a career low, but it isn't because of his first 2 years in Sacramento when he had to share. But it's probably his career low. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like that's my biggest issue with the
I
whole conversation.
mean, I would be more concerned if this keeps up to All Star break.
Yeah,
Then I'd be like, okay, yeah, because they're in trouble. Because after the All Star break, you got the last rush of the season, which is the last like 27 games. So you really got to lock in that seeding and make sure you make your runs
hmm
at that part of the season. So if it continues up until that point, like once we get around to like the end of January, we'll know
yeah,
because that'll be enough games. It'll only be like a week or two until All Star. Then we can sound the alarm and be like, okay, the hamstring, like what's going on? So
yeah. And I guess we could segue right into the next topic. I want to save Lamelo Ball for last. Pause. Um, I think we got to talk about your take that wasn't recorded. Unfortunately, I tried to scour my browser.
yeah,
I tried to scour my history. I was like, I can't find it. I can't find it. And I'm really upset with myself because I think it might have been on the phone conversation. I may have like reined you in a little bit, or some time had passed and you saw some more games being played, and you definitely got reined in a little bit. And it's about your Shea and Jamal Murray take, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and Jamal Murray take. Go ahead and tell the people what that take was, by the way,
So
because that's classic.
the genesis of that take was the 23 playoff run that Jamal and Jokic was on. I had never, that was like
The 23
bubble
run.
Jamal returning
Yeah.
and playing and just healthy and playing throughout the whole playoffs. Like that was bubble Jamal. And
Mhm.
so seeing that, I was like, dude, I don't know how you can't look at him at that run and not be like, that's a top 10 player. because he
Okay.
absolutely was playing like a top 10 player. Then, of course, he smashed my team, the Lakers, and so I was like, all right, well, if you could do it against them and you do it against the champion in the championship, then I'll put you there. Because at the time, Shea lost in the play-in, I think that
And
season,
2020.
2023 season.
Oh, the 23 season. I gotta look it up. But I was looking at the bubble because you brought up the bubble. But keep going because I want to do
Yeah,
something with the bubble overall. I want you to keep going because I'm looking up some numbers right now.
yeah. So that was basically Bubble Jamal returned, like, and
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, this, coinciding with Shea's rise, I was like, I don't think you can look at what Jamal just did and not put him over Shea, even though Shea hadn't really made a deep playoff run at that time. I don't think they had gotten out the first round since the
No,
bubble.
they never got out
Up,
first
up,
round of
up.
the bubble either.
Did they get the
They
first
never
round?
got.
Okay, all right, yeah. So
No,
I
they
don't think
didn't.
they,
They
I don't think
didn't.
they ever have so far, right? They've lost first
Yeah,
round
they
of Dallas
lost.
last year.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
lost.
so I'm looking at the bubble, and Jamal Murray averaged that whole run. He averaged 26.5 points per game on 51% from the field, 45% from three, and 90% from the free throw line. So yeah, he basically was 50, 40, 90, 50, 45, 90 in the bubble. And I'm looking at Shea's numbers again. He lost in the first round. He played with Chris Paul and Dennis Schroeder that year. He has 16 points per game. He shot 43% from the field and 40% from three with 4 assists. So that's one. And then you said the 2023 run where Jamal Murray averaged 26 points per game, 47% from the field, 40% from three, and 93% from the free throw line. So he was on one in that run as well. And if you want to look at Shea's numbers from that same postseason, I guess it would be, I'm trying to do this really fast. They didn't. They lost on a play-in. I believe, was it to the Spurs? Did they lose to the play-in in the Spurs, or was that the year that they tanked?
I
No,
feel
they
like they
went
lost to New
42 and
Orleans,
40. They went
but
42 and 40
yeah, I feel like they lost to New Orleans
and
or
23. No, because 23. I
in the
don't think the
play-in. In
Pelicans.
the play-in,
Oh, in the
who did they lose to in
play-in.
the play-in?
Oh, the
It had to
play-in.
be maybe Minnesota.
They lost to Minnesota. Yes, they lost to
Yeah. Okay.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So that was what happened.
Shea
All right.
Gill just had 22.7 rebounds, 3 assists.
Yeah, so you can see where my idea came from. If Jamal, the whole bubble production thing was under fire, he comes right back in the playoffs, finally healthy, right, and
Mm-hmm.
does a very similar stat line again. So I was just like, yo, like I had to give him his props, I had to give him his respect, and ever
Yeah, but he
since
was doing
then,
it off of Jokic.
was he doing it? I don't feel like he was doing
Shea
it off
was
of
getting his
Jokic.
out the mud. Shea was getting his
Oh,
out the
here we go,
mud,
bro.
bro.
Oh
He
no,
was. I mean, I told you
it
this
was
when we
straight.
had the
It was 2-man
conversation,
game. It was like LeBron and AD. Like it
bro.
was just straight 2-man game.
Do you realize in the 23 season, the year that they lost in the play-in, the year that they
Uh huh.
lost in the play-in to Minnesota, the year that Denver won the championship, Shea averaged 31.4 points per game, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds. He finished fifth in MVP voting in 23, and he was first team All NBA. Yes, he did not make the playoffs. That was the same year that Luka didn't make the playoffs and made first team All NBA and didn't make a play in. So, did you
Hmm.
have Jamal Murray over Luka?
No, not at that time. No,
Why not? They
because
both
Luka,
him and Shea had the
I
same
already
season.
had. No, I hadn't seen enough. Like my ranking is a combination of both what you did in the regular season and what you did in the playoffs. I saw what Luka could do in the playoffs, so that's why I would never.
Shea was good. Shea wasn't Luka. I'm not gonna say he was Luka. I'm not
I
gonna say
hadn't
he was
seen
Jamal Murray.
Shea perform well in a
Shea
playoff
had
setting for
Shea
me to be like,
Shea's rookie season in the
okay,
playoffs with the Clippers. He averaged 14 points per game as a rookie. Shot
okay,
46% from the field, 50% from three, 85% from the free throw line, and they
okay,
pushed Golden State. They had pushed Golden State to 6 games that year. Then
yeah.
the next season in the playoffs with OKC, when they had Chris Paul, he had another solid postseason run. Like Shea has always
I'm not
been
saying.
that
Oh, no, no, no.
guy. You know what I'm
I was
saying?
not. I'm not saying that Shea's trash or he's not good or whatever. I'm saying that like I had not seen a comparable playoff performance from Shea compared to the body of work I had from Jamal at the time,
It's a
and that
little
I was
different.
also seeing in the moment.
It's
Right?
a little different. I'm gonna give you a really bad example,
Okay.
but it's an example. It's a terrible example. I'm saying that beforehand. But it's the same thing I used to say when Kawhi Leonard was in San Antonio and the Rockets had James Harden. And every time the Spurs would go far in the playoffs, they was like, "Oh, look how much Kawhi is better at in the postseason." And I'm like, "Well, look at what James Harden has to do on his plate in the regular season, and then when he goes to the playoffs, he doesn't have Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan, Greg Popovich. He doesn't have that type of playoff setting. Plus, they had Danny Green. Plus, they had Gary Neal.
Yeah.
Like they always had good players in San Antonio. So when I see, a guy like Shea and I see a guy like Jamal Murray and I'm looking at the player comparisons, I'm like, yeah, you're right in a sense that Jamal has done more, but Shea hasn't had this. Shea has had way more attention to him on him. OKC has been tanking pretty much every single year he's been there, with the exception of 2020 and last season. They've been tanking every year with the exception of 2020 and last season. 2021 they tanked. 2022 they tanked. 2023 they tanked. Even though they made the play in, they tanked.
Yeah.
Now they're finally not tanking. That's 3 straight years with a prime SGA getting better, that this has happened. And I seen it. I'm not saying I paid attention to OKC games. I'm not no OKC whisperer, but I seen what Shea was. I'm telling you, like, I seen what Shea was doing, and that's why I never thought him and Jamal was in the same conversation. Like, just give you another example. When Jokic goes to the bench, you see how the on-off numbers dip significantly versus when he's on the floor. Look, I guarantee you if they had Shea, that same thing wouldn't happen. When Jokic sits, the numbers might dip, but it's not going to dip that much because Shea can elevate and be a floor raiser on offense.
Okay. I mean, I think Jamal's performance and Jamal's ability to dictate a game in the playoffs playing off of Jokic is like, I don't think that's something that should be held against him. Like, I think that's kind of weird.
It's not held against him, but it should be put in moderation. It should be brought up within the proper context. I don't think it should ever be held against him, but I'm not going to say as a number 2 option, he's better than Shea, who's a number 1 option. I'm never going to do that.
Now, well, maybe when I said that at the time you didn't agree, but at the time from the body of work I had to work with, the evidence that I had, Jamal seemed like the better player.
I mean,
now
if Shea played alongside of Jokic, it would be.
So that's what I'm saying. Different. Like, why is it held against Jamal? Because Jamal did his thing, and it wasn't just like because the way he scored was straight off a 2-man game. It was pick and roll with Jokic. Jamal, either one of them play off of whatever each other's doing.
Jamal will have your team in the lottery if he is your best player. Shea is not going to have your team in the lottery if he is your best player. And from what I've seen, and I understand that they literally have been in the lottery, but I also said they were tanking.
Okay.
They were actively tanking.
Is this the Kyrie Irving versus Steph Curry convo, like circa 2015 to 2017? Is this how you're looking at it?
No, not even that.
Kyrie was said to be better than Steph, right? Based off of like, okay, he could do stuff in the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. But Steph was the engine of the Warriors. Like, if he plays bad, you forget the whole fucking thing. Like, it's not going to happen. So you're putting it like that. Like, Shea is Steph, Jamal is Kyrie.
Because I have the same reservations to a certain degree about Steph. I don't think that if you take X, Y, and Z off of Steph, they're still going to be good. It has to be certain pieces in a certain way that they have to play. You can't just roll a ball out there and say, Steph, give me 40, 45 wins every season. I don't think – I said this when he was in his prime of prime. When Steph Curry was in his prime of prime, I said, bro, if it comes to floor raising, meaning I don't have the best of the best talent, and it's between Harden and Steph Curry, I said I always want Harden. I know he's going to give me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He might fail, but
he's not the floor raiser that those players are.
That Harden, like LeBron, roll a ball out there, give him 3 niggas that never played basketball before, 4 niggas that never played basketball before. LeBron is going to do his thing. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's just that's just how I feel about it. You feel what I'm saying? So what I say that to say about Shea and Jamal Murray, that's just how I look at it. Shea floor raises. Jamal doesn't floor raise, and that's evident when every time Jokic is not on the floor, they go from 128 points per game offensive rating to 86. That's a 40-point difference.
Yeah, but Jamal's not like a creator. But I mean, You
Then
know,
that's why he can't be in the conversation. And Shea is
now
not the best
now now
creator.
he can't be. Now he can't be. At the time it was a valid discussion, I think.
Okay, I get what you're saying. In
Yeah.
2020, most people
Yeah.
would have said Jamal is better than Shea. Okay, yes. In
Yeah,
2020, yes,
and when I
correct.
said it in 23, at the time, you couldn't have looked at what Jamal Murray did and said, okay,
No,
he's
I
not.
wouldn't have said that.
I,
Because
at
Shea
that
made all
time, you
NBA.
could have.
In 23, Shea made first
Okay,
team All NBA. He made first team All NBA in 2023.
who
In
made? Did he make
2024,
first team? Did he make first team?
First team.
All
Jamal
right, let me see
hasn't
who
made an
made
All Star
22. Who
game.
made
Jamal
2023?
hasn't made it. Luka Doncic also made it first team.
Because I have
Jamal
seen
Murray has
multiple
not made an All
times.
Star game. He's not made an All Star game.
Okay, so it was Shea, Luka, Giannis, Jason Tatum, and Joel Embiid. That was who was on first team in 23.
Fam,
And
Jamal
okay,
Murray hasn't made an All Star team.
I know he
Not
hasn't made an
one.
All-Star team. I know.
That's why, like, even in 23, like I said, in 2020, we can have a conversation. You are valid in 2020. 2023, no, not even with the championship.
I think at that time in 23, as of July 2023, I would no. I don't think you could have because like okay, since like after the 20 like I think how many months were we into the 24th season? Uh,
Mm.
I had to come off that because
But
Jamal.
Jamal had got hurt though. That's another reason why when you came off of it, I was like, it's not even necessarily that you was wrong. Jamal had a torn ACL. He's ever since he tore his ACL, he's been injury prone ever since.
Yeah.
He's clearly took a step back. He clearly doesn't look like the same player, with the exception of the 2023 playoff run. He does not look like the same player since that
No,
ACL
he's
injury.
fallen off. Like I
Exactly.
would readily
So it's
admit, like
not,
what's
but
happening to
it's
him right
injury
now
though.
is everything you've been saying about Shea, which is Jamal's bad games is hidden by the fact that Jokic never in the supporting cast is carrying him because he's playing so bad, and he's the only team that Jamal shows up for that I have seen is the Lakers. Like he is a Laker merchant as far as I'm concerned. He will look like prime Kobe Bryant when he plays them. Then he will go play the Spurs and look like a fucking pedestrian. And it's just like it's insane. And I got to concede your point because Shea can't afford those games. When Shea has games like that, they got to fall back on their defense. And to me,
Yeah.
that is the
I
true
mean,
mark of a great player.
to be
Like,
honest with you, you said he a Lakers merchant. The last time they played the Lakers, he only had 14 points and shot 42% from the field. He
what was
struggled
the game
really
before
bad.
that, bro? I feel like if it
Dallas.
was 14,
Dallas
it
he
was
went
all the important shots.
No, Dallas he went yeah. Dallas he went 4 for 16. He did not have a good game. You know, he's been like I said,
He's
he's
so
been
up and down.
consistent.
It's just like his
Yeah.
inconsistency. I'm like, okay, bro, I can't even stand on it because Shea
Mm.
team can't afford that.
Yeah.
Shea, like if he's not playing well, they got to fly on their defense.
Shea has
They got
way
to put
more
it
help
together.
now though. Shea
Yeah,
has
he's got
way
way more
more help
help, but
now.
like it's just
Yeah,
his
way
team
more
has
help.
alternate ways to win through
Yeah,
his leadership and through the way they play. If
for
Jamal
sure.
doesn't play well, he has nothing else to give the team.
Yeah. Shea really don't
And
have bad games either. He really don't. Like he don't have bad games. Like
when I say bad games, I'm talking about
yeah, I
like
get what
he's
you're
not
saying.
in
I get what you're
shooting.
saying.
Like
Yeah, shooting
yeah,
wise. Yeah, yeah. No, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. I
yeah.
meant shooting. Like I'm just saying, like just in terms of his scoring, like I'm looking like let me look at this season. He only averaged 30 only, quote unquote.
Only
But yeah, like
quote,
he don't
yeah.
have no game where he didn't score. Well, he only has one game this season where he didn't score 20 points. He only has one game
Was it that
like
Golden State game? I feel like he didn't hit.
no, it was versus the Spurs.
Okay, yeah.
He went 7 for 20 and they
Because
had
they're
8
so
minutes
good. They're
left.
so good defensively that he don't even need to just to have
No,
like.
he's tough. He's tough. Speaking of, I'm going to see him tonight in Houston. They play OKC. I'm
Oh, well,
going to the
good
game
luck. I
tonight.
need y'all to
Yeah, I'll be
push
there
those Warriors down in the
for
standings.
sure. Facts. But hey, let's get to the last topic, man. Lamelo Ball. He's having a career year. You bring this one in, bro. You bring this one in because you brought this topic to the table. So go ahead, bro.
I just wanted to say, like, I think we as basketball fans should appreciate what we're getting out of LaMelo because LaMelo's career up until this point has kind of been disappointing. Not disappointing as like a bust, but just like what we expected to see from him. What we're seeing now is what we expected probably a couple seasons ago. But he's been hurt a lot. He's been up and down. Charlotte's been kind of weird, but now he's got some guys that can kind of like, even if they don't win, they're entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what you kind of want out of a young and surprising team. Like Brandon Miller's in a good groove. Miles Bridges is in a good groove, and LaMelo through his last 10 games, I think he's put up 33, 7, and 5, and those are for sure all-star numbers. And it's just good to see that coming, from LaMelo. Like he's been playing well, and he's just electrifying to watch. And I feel like he's kind of like doing the Tyrese Halliburton thing, like last season. Like he's the electrifying point guard that's like bringing up a young franchise. So I want to see, I want to see it, continue throughout the season. I don't want to see, him drop off and get lazy again. But I think I'm happy because the Charlotte fans have deserved this from Melo for a while because he was their franchise player they drafted. When was that? 2021 or 22?
2020.
2020, yeah. So he's finally like looking like the franchise player that they've wanted and that we've been waiting to see. So hats off to him for real.
Yeah. Bro, I don't know if you know this. LaMelo made the All-Star game his second season in the league. His first season in the league, he won Rookie of the Year. The first 2 years of his career, Charlotte at 19, he led Charlotte to the play-in. And at 20, he led Charlotte to the play-in again. That's when they had James Borrega as coach.
Yeah.
2023, he played 36 games. He got hurt. Then the next season, he played even fewer than that. He played 22 games. He was hurt.
He had an ankle issue.
Yeah, the only difference between, I think it was against Houston. The only difference between LaMelo now and LaMelo the past 2 seasons is he's healthy. So
he's healthy, but his game has matured a lot. I've been watching him. Like his game has gotten a lot better.
But this was supposed to happen because he's in year 5.
That's what I'm saying. Like this is what I said. This is what we are waiting to see. We're waiting to see him take that next level. Yeah, like he's young. Yeah. He's getting them to the play-in and all that. He's making All-Star because again, it's the East, bro. So, like I expect that with the conference that week. But what I'm seeing from him.
He's shooting 13 threes a game he's shooting 13 threes a game at a 36% clip. He's shooting 25 shots overall.
He's putting up shots. He's putting up like 30 shots. 38 shots.
No, 25 field goal attempts per game, 43% from the field. This is like Allen Iverson. This is like James Harden the year that he averaged 36 points per game. Like the only thing really missing from LaMelo Ball's game is he needs to get to the free throw line more. If he can get to the free throw line like 9 or 10 times a game, he would be averaging easily 30.
Hey, shout out Trey Mann though. He's also on the team. I've the times I've seen them play. Like at first I thought it was Allen Iverson. I was like, how the fuck did they get Allen Iverson? Like but nah, he been doing well. I think he's averaged like 12 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds last 10 games. He's been a nice little addition for them. But like, it's just good to see them take that next step.
Yeah, they got some pieces in Charlotte, man, for sure. LaMelo has been a godsend, man. He's really talented, bro. Like, just to speak on him, he's gonna make the All-Star team again this year. If he doesn't, it'll be a crime. But he should make the All-Star team. He's one of the most fun players to watch in the league. He just plays recklessly, but it's like a controlled recklessness. Like, it's like he doesn't look like he's playing goofy, but he kind of is playing goofy. He needs to get the turnovers down a little bit, but man, when you got a team like Charlotte, I think that Charlotte is definitely lucky to have him. The only thing I want to see from Charlotte is more wins. They're 6-14, bro. They're 6-14. They got to get to the play-in. Like LaMelo playing like this, it's almost now you got to have a conversation like, is it the best for him to be shooting 25 shots? Is it the best for him to be taking 13 threes a game, 14 threes a game? Is it the best for him to average 4.5 turnovers a game? Because you got 6 wins. So you can't say, oh, my numbers are great, but we losing. You know what I'm saying? You 8 games under 500. Like, you got to do something. They got to start winning. It has to justify. And, I know they got Brandon Miller. He's only in year 2. So they have time, but it's just like it's time for some new blood in the NBA, man. It's time.
Yeah, it's time. And speaking of new blood,
Orlando's doing it, and but go ahead, bro. My bad.
Speaking of new blood, I want to talk about one last thing. Mm-hmm. We got to address my GOAT, LeBron James. It's
okay.
Decline.
Yeah, man, it's
happening. We knew this was going to happen one day. Eventually, it's here, and I knew everybody was going to pile on when it happened. but it's sad, bro. It's sad because it's like he gave his last best in the Olympics, right? So we could all see him, Curry, AD, KD, team with the younger guys in the league. But his last 5 games have been like his decline has taken a direction I didn't expect to see. Like I thought he would just be like super washed and couldn't move, but nah, it's his mental, like his cognition processing speed. Like the last 5 games, he's averaged 5 turnovers.
Yeah, I
They
see.
have
It's
been
nasty.
loud, nasty
Yeah, it's
turnovers. And
nasty.
for the season, he's on a plus minus of -85, which a lot of factors contribute to that. The bench unit lineup he's in, whether they're going on a run or whether they're making up ground, and it's just he can't like it's like he can't hold on the ball. He can't. His playmaking has been terrible, which by his standards, right? So we're just seeing like an old man try to like pass his way through his being washed up. And he's played every game so far. I don't think he's missed a game, or maybe he's missed maybe one, but he's played every game. He definitely needs to be load managed, but we're here, folks. This is the way he's playing. If it continues, it's probably going to be one last season, which lines up with I think his contract. Maybe I think he has 2 more years, and he's out of there. So we're
I
at the end
mean,
of an era.
you say that, and he's shooting 50% from the field,
Oh, his
39%.
stats look good, but it's
Yeah,
just the fact that
39% from
like
three, 22 points per game.
yeah,
He's definitely diminishing, but it's still a quality player. You know why it's so bad? It's because of the contract. And it's crazy to say that
mhm,
about LeBron James. Like we're finally at that moment where we're like, does the contract match the production? Because that's never been the case for a LeBron James team. But to
yeah,
be honest, it's the contract. That's why if you're going to be this type of player, it's time to give up some more money so you can bring some better players in that can help you. And you know what that'll do for LeBron's game? It'll make him look better because you got better players around you and your role is diminished. But we don't know if he's going to be that level of player to ever take that type of step back, take that type of money decrease, and that role decrease. So that's the only thing. But I guess it all good things happen, man. Like when you see him do these little layups and stuff, and even though he has excellent coordination, he can still finish at the rim at a really good level, like almost at an elite level. It's like, oh man, he still got it. But it's like, no, if you go back 10 years, he's dunking these, he's windmilling these, he's putting
yeah.
people
People
in the
moving out the
goal.
way.
Yeah, people moving out the way. Now it's like, oh, it's just LeBron coming down. He don't got that much lift. He don't got that much elevation. I can out jump him. I can out block him and stuff like that. And that's never been the case for LeBron. He's always been the best athlete on the floor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So that is we're at that moment with LeBron James. You know what I mean? And it's the end of an era, but we don't know, man. He might break out of this and go on a
yeah.
10 game
He
streak
might,
and be looking good.
but this decline, the way it's happening is like okay. His scoring production, like he'll still be able to get you 20 until he's probably
Yeah.
43, 44. But
Don't
it's
compare him
just
to the old LeBron. Compare
I'm
him to
comparing
like
him to his younger self. I'm comparing
Yeah,
him
don't do
to.
that. Yeah,
I'm
compare him to like I don't know, Anton Jameson. Like, and you'll be way happier. For real, like no disrespect. Like compare him to like Antonio McDyess. You know what I'm saying? Like compare him to somebody like that, a production player, David West. Like compare him to somebody like that, and then you'll be like, damn, LeBron good. It's just the contract number. That's lit. That's
Yeah, that's
legitimately the
that's
only
where we're at.
thing.
That's why I said like if he's gonna to help his decline, he'd have to take less money. But again, someone of his stature, someone that's been in the league, been an all star damn near every season of his career. I it was a hard sell for me to imagine that he would take. I think he would take a little less, but he wasn't gonna take like no 10, $12 million contract, which is what I thought he should have done. And then
Oh nah, I ain't
you
taking
could
no
have done you
10 to
could have
12 million dollar contract.
yeah. I mean, even if he took like 30. That'd probably be okay because
30
you
would have
could,
been okay. That's
yeah,
respectable.
you could have
Yes.
taken like you could have gotten two middle level role players, but like he took the 50, and it's kind of what I said about. It's the same thing I said about Russell Westbrook on the Lakers in 22. I said the issue isn't so much Russell Westbrook. The issue is Russell Westbrook's contract because he's being paid $50 million along with the other two, and you have no cap room to fill out players that cover up the weaknesses of those three.
Mm-hmm.
So you're relying on minimum contracts, and they're minimum contracts for a reason. And so we're at that point with LeBron where He's getting paid. He is literally getting paid like $55 million or so, and he's not the $55 million player used to seeing. So
Exactly.
we'll see what happens in the future. But I think right now we're here. We're here at the door of the decline, or he's been slowly declining over time, but now we're here where it's like very noticeable.
Yeah, I mean, what he's getting paid $50 million a year, 50.6 a year. So, you know, it's just really like I said, like we said, man, it's more so the contract than the per play. But man, that was episode 28
Yeah.
of the No Narratives podcast. Thank you, Quinn, for coming on, bro. I really do appreciate it, bro. It's been a long time. I'm back in town. Hopefully, I can get back late tonight in time to do a video after the Rockets game. Hopefully, they win because, hey, that's what I want to do. I want to get that number 1 seed, man. I want to shut up everybody that was making jokes about 50 wins. I want to shut up everybody that said we just a playing team, and I just can't wait to say, I told you so. That's all I want to say. I just want to say, just like I did in 23 with Denver. I told you so. Just like I did that. Like, that's all I want to do. But
Okay.
all right, man. We
All
out,
right,
man.
man.
Appreciate it, bro.
All right, y'all. See y'all.